los que os habéis emocionado como la primera vez. A los que habéis vivido una experiencia única llena de recuerdos increíbles. A los que os habéis apasionado, ilusionado y vivido cada segundo como si fuera único. Ha sido un año especial en la que una vez más, juntos, hemos conseguido seguir viviendo algo extraordinario. Por eso, a todos, infinitas gracias. Tan infinitas como las emociones que sentimos en PortAventura World.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. We're gonna be here at ICF Academy. I'm your host today. I'm Simon. We don't have the lovely Gabrielle, who's always doing these hosting gigs. And we're very happy to have you back after the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. We're really happy about what is happening, what is going on around the world. Camps are back. So we're really happy of having a good summer in some of the countries. And we would like to know a little bit more about what is happening in your regions. And this is why we're here today. We're going to be having a great presenter. But before we do that, we're going to have some housekeeping. And what's going to happen in this session is going to be about an hour and a half. And then during this hour and a half, we're going to be discussing different topics. We're going to be having a Spanish room, a Russian room, an English room. And then we're going to come back to the main session where we're going to discuss a little bit of the situations we faced in the summer and some of the solutions we are providing for those situations we had. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the presentation and we're going to have a little bit of what's going to happen. Sorry, this is my mistake. This video has already gone. We're going to have the great Ruby Compton, whom I'm going to introduce in a few minutes, and I'm going to be your host for the day. Before we begin, we would like to have you run through a very short Zoom crash course, because we know sometimes Zoom can get tricky. We're going to show you a little bit of the functions you can have in this session. This is me again, of course, and the control Zoom bar is at the bottom, so you can have any controls you need at the bottom of your screen. If you push participants, a lot of the people who's going to be here. And now I'm going to invite you to put your name and your country, if you can, please, so people will kind of identify you. So I would like to talk to someone from Mexico, or I would like to talk to Georgie from Canada. So I can see Georgie from Canada or Gwen Powell from USA. So you can write down your name and let us know where are you coming from, okay? You can also rename yourself, but also change your picture. You can raise your hand. You can mute or unmute your microphone. Microphones are open because we have a small session today. We have 24 participants in the room. So you can open or close your mic at any point. We trust you are camp director, so we know you can do it. You can also click on the reactions. You can put smiling faces. You can share a drink if you want, a little heart, whatever you want, okay? Also, what else you can do in your Zoom bar? You can also chat. Go to the chat, say hello to everyone, ask questions. So a lot of the questions we ask during the session are going to be here in the chat room. And you can skip through it and check what people is asking, what is in the mind of the other camp directors from around the world. Also important buttons, when we go to especially when we go into the breakout rooms, you can silence yourself, but you can also turn on or off your video, which is important if you want to show your face. And if you don't want anyone to see your face because you're just waking up or you're going to bed, please just log your camera. The camera is very important, as I was saying, because you can turn on your video or off. And also you can have some settings from the video. If you're looking fussy or your house is a mess, you can just put your kind of a screen behind you. So no worries about that. What else? Well, the mic, so you can talk when we are in the breakout rooms, but also in the general room. And well, if you want to have some more details about Zoom or any other questions, please follow me on TikTok for more Zoom tips, okay? Thank you so much for going with us through this very fast, crash course. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping. What's going to happen during this session? Please be muted unless you're going to speak. Also, use the speaker view. In the upper right corner of your screen, you can find a different kind of views in Zoom. You can use a speaker view so you can see the person who's speaking at any point. Okay, if you use gallery, you're going to see everyone in the room, which is also good so you can check who's here. Questions, please use the chat room. Also, be mindful of we will use English in the main room, but we're going to have breakout rooms so you can speak in your regional language if you are in Latin America, Russia, or any other country who speaks English around the world. Breakout rooms are going to be available in a few minutes. And these are the languages we're going to be using. No formal break, so please water in and water out at your own advice, whatever you want, okay? So you'll just go to your kitchen or go to your, whatever your store, your drinks, do it at your own time. So no worries about that. If you miss something, it's going to be recorded. We are recording at this moment, okay? We will wrap up around 9:30. You can leave whenever you want, and we're going to have a very small after party of about 5 to 10 minutes because our friend Jim Kane said, hey, it's been 5 years, we haven't seen each other, so we should talk a little bit extra time after we finish the session. So we say we lie to accommodate everyone. So thank you so much, Jim, for asking for that. And only a part of this episode is going to be recorded, so be mindful of that. If you want to review this, you can check your notes or just ask anyone who was in the session if you want to remember something that is not recorded. Okay, so being account director is difficult. We know that. A lot of lonely time, a lot of difficulties, emerging problems. Sometimes we don't have money to pay for something, and sometimes we have too many parents calling. So this is a little bit of the things we're going to be talking about, okay? So I'm going to introduce my friend Ruby Compton, who's going to be joining us here at the stage. Ruby is a longtime camp director. Here is Ruby, is a longtime camp director. She has her own organization where she helps camp directors be present, be more aware of what's happening. She also provides training year-round. She works in environmental education and has been devoted to the outdoor industry for more than 15 years. Thank you so much for joining us, Ruby. The stage is yours, and these are the camp directors from around the world.
Amazing. I'm just getting my computer set up with the screen share. So give me just a moment. And I'm so glad to be here, and I so appreciate the opportunity to hold some space for us to talk and share a bit about how our summers have been. We have been done with summer here in North Carolina for about 3 months, and fortunately got to get together with many of the camp directors in person just a couple months ago. And you know that thing that happens where everybody sits around and tells their wildest story? There were some wild stories this summer. So I'm really excited to give you all this chance, because it's a little bit therapeutic, I think, being able to recognize that being a camp director is hard. It's difficult. Running camp is hard. And today we want to give you the opportunity to share what made your summer difficult, or what is creating stress for you as you think about next summer, and that this can be a judgment-free zone. You are sharing among peers who have a unique understanding of the struggles of the work that we do. We are going to be doing breakout rooms, as Simon said, that are going to be done by language. So I want to encourage you in your breakout rooms. Make sure all this text is up here for you. that we want you to act respectfully. So please allow each person in the room some time to speak and leave time for others to share their stories too. So I'm just simply asking you to be mindful of, this isn't a therapy session. So it's not only you on the stage. We want to give everyone a chance to share who would like to share. But also that we want to invite folks to share or not to their level of comfort. We want to invite you to speak kindly. Be careful with your words and your responses to others. I have certainly heard some stories that I thought, I cannot believe that you could have let that happen, or how could you have let that happen at camp? It's okay to think those things, but we don't want to say those things out loud. So just be mindful of what you're about to say and how it may come across, so that we are, again, holding this as a nice, brave space to share. This is not a confidential space, so we are asking for your professional courtesy to one another, and consider that what folks share, they may not want that to be something that's talked about outside of this call, but also remember that we are not lawyers or insurance companies. So please don't share anything today that your lawyers or insurance companies would be upset that you shared with other peers. We will not be recording this first section in the breakout rooms because we want you to have a little more freedom to talk about some of what's been going on and what's really on your mind. And we also want to make sure you are aware that this is not a confidential, these stories could be passed along. So again, please use that professional courtesy when, if you are making the choice to share about some of what you've heard in this call today, by not using names of camps and things like that. And then I also want to remind you that silence is okay. As we reflect on the summer and have these discussions, it's okay to pause and reflect on what your peers have shared. Don't be afraid of silence. Also feel welcome to jot down notes or ideas that come to you as others speak. And feel welcome to use the chat as a way to share thoughts without having to interrupt each other. So as far as what to discuss in your breakout room, we're going to give you about 20 minutes in your breakout room. And during this time, I invite you to share thoughts on any of the following questions. And you may want to take a quick screenshot of this so you'll have this to refer back to. So here are the questions. What was a challenging situation that you managed this summer? What happened this summer that you're still thinking about now, or you're still on your mind, or maybe you're still dealing with? And what are you stressed about right now as you plan for next summer? I'm going to also ask that you don't share solutions yet. So this first breakout room time is designed to help us just release some of the stress and not to fix anything yet. There's no pressure to fix. It's really kind of that moment to go, you're not going to believe what I dealt with this summer. So please, 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 don't share solutions yet. Don't jump into that. I'm the camp director and I solve all the problems, because we get in that mode very quickly. Make sure that you aren't solving any of those problems yet. Okay, so no problem solvings allowed yet. We do ask that you pick a spokesperson who can report for when we come back together. And we will take a little time in these larger groups, and don't worry, we will have time for you to do some camp director problem solving. But for right now, this is all about just sharing, reconnecting with one another. And also, please do feel free to take just a quick moment to introduce yourselves, or maybe introduce yourself before you start talking and sharing about a little bit about your camp. Don't let the introductions take over the entire breakout room time. We want you to make sure you have time to share, okay? Great. Well, welcome back, everyone. What I'd like to do is give a chance for each room to give a little bit of a recap of what was talked about in your rooms. You don't have to mention specific names or camps, but just some overall themes if there were common problems that came up or surprising things that came up. And what I want to invite you to do is in the chat, if whatever is shared about is something that you also experienced this summer, you can just put the letter Y, like yes. And we'll see kind of this like chat flood happen when you say, yeah, we dealt with mental health issues, and you're going to see yes. So it'll be a way for us to commiserate as well. So let's start with our Spanish room. Do you all have a spokesperson selected?
We did. However, we do have someone, but we were pulled a little early, so we didn't finish the last we were discussing. Jesus, would you like to comment about the situations we face or we discussed in the Spanish room, please?
Hello, yes, Simon. I will try to do my best in English. Please be patient with me. Long time without being person in English. Well, good morning to everyone. My name is Jesus from Venezuela, and I'm the spokesperson from the Spanish side. Okay, we were especially talking about emotional subjects, the teenagers, okay, that are a very important thing to take care of, okay, especially when they are interacting socially. But it's important to say that parents are as an important concern too, because they have this anxiety that we can see they have when they bring their kids to the camp. Actually, they are apprenticed with the economical stuff, and I believe we all agree that it's something we share. This thing of the parents being worried about the economical, but also that parents do not accept in a lot of times they don't accept our explanations about the economical investment they have to do or how it's working and why it's not the way they see it, because there is a functional part of the economy in the camp. Okay, so we can explain things that they not really get at the first time. For example, we were worried about the staff, because even being a good staff this year, they don't have the physical, how could you say it? They don't have the same physical condition they had years before, and well, that's a thing to worry about. Okay, they are in the more conditions to work. Also, we can say something good, that parents and families, they appreciate a lot more about what we do in the camp, and they are also glad to bring the kids. So that's a good point to take in account. Okay, and well, basically, we can see that kids somehow take along with many subjects, transgender subjects, for example. They can manage it very well, but their parents don't take it very well, don't manage it very well in comparison to their kids. And well, there is overprotection and anxiety from the parents, and I believe that's part of the thing. I can make a resume, or I can say that part of the thing is the dealing with the parents. Okay, a few things that happen with the kids that they can be managed, and also, well, the economical investment, that is something to worry, because we feel that many things are getting higher in the cost, and well, it's a subject that we are worried about for the next summer, for example. I believe that's generally what we were talking about. Our our minds are in this in this stuff. I believe that's it.
Great. Thank you so much for that recap. And thanks also for the putting some of those highlights in the chat as well. Sounds like those are common themes. I saw a lot of nodding heads as you were sharing. How about in our English speaking room? Did you all have a spokesperson selected?
Not really, but we all want to go to Vietnam now.
Yes, we have to admit a bit of a side tour as we listen to Lionel tell us a little bit about camp in Vietnam. Ruby, I think the three topics that came through, and please anybody who was there correct me. The first was from Lionel and just a sense that that parents have a higher level of demand. The term pushy came up a little bit. A sense of either caution or care about their children, or just more anxiety coming from their life experiences transferring over into camp, and that was a reality for several of us. The second was COVID and just coping with the situations that arose. We're still wrestling with COVID in our summers here in Canada. And so testing systems and having the complications that staff going down brings to trying to run a program. And just towards the end, we were talking more about the staff themselves, the fact that so many came in inexperienced from a two-year gap, and for some had never been in key leadership roles, and suddenly finding that we needed to upgrade our training, upgrade our supervision and support, our mental health and services, and all of the things associated with helping staff do their job. On the flip side of that, I noticed that our staff, just like this gathering right here, is so great to see everybody again. It was, people were ready to step up and support one another and help through difficult challenges as they arose.
I love that both of the rooms that have shared so far, classic camp director, we talked about the problems, then we found the highlights too. That wasn't even part of the assignment and you did it. So I love that. Now comes the part that you all have all been waiting for. You got to do some sharing, but now we get to do some of the problem solving. And we're gonna do this is gonna be short. This is not about solving the world's problems. It's a little bit about just giving you a taste of thinking creatively and bouncing ideas and having some dreamer conversations with the other folks in your room. We're going to go back to the same breakout rooms. So essentially within your group, briefly, you're going to pick one topic that's going to be the topic you're going to do some dreaming on. What if we could solve whatever it is? And I'm going to encourage you to do the brainstorming method of just simply asking the question, what if? So let that open your mind a little bit and help us think about what are some wild possibilities, because sometimes when we think about these wild possibilities, it actually leads us to very functional solutions. So here's an example. What if you chose the problem that there is too much candy at camp? You're like, we just had way too much candy at camp this summer. We need to deal with that. So a conversation or a big brainstorm around too much candy at camp might sound like this. One person might say, what if we only had certain types of candy and said there were certain types that were allowed? Somebody else might say, what if we had candy break during the day and that's the only time we had candy, so they aren't eating it before meals or bed? Then someone else inevitably is going to say, what if we didn't have any candy at all at camp? Then what if we said, what if we made candy and that was the only kind they got to eat? What if candy was like a program area? What if all the campers brought candy at check-in and then we redistributed it so every family gets some, but the families have provided it all and now we're not paying for it, right? So candy aside, this is just an example of we can take pretty much any topic and brainstorm on it and just dream. What if we didn't have to deal with anxiety at camp? What if we really managed it and made it be part of our program area? These what if questions will lead to discussions, and that's great. That's what we want. If you find yourself stuck or you go down a discussion path and you're like, okay, it kind of dead ended and we don't have anything else to say, go back to a what if question. So it's kind of this letting your mind think, in a dream world, what if this wasn't a problem we had to deal with? What if we tackled it this way? And the last thing I'll say about that before we send you off into your rooms is there is no idea that is silly. There is no what if question that that you can't speak out loud, because it may seem really silly and zany to you and wild, but that may spark for someone else an idea that's very functional and very smart. So even if you're like, this is really silly, folks who have been on calls with me know that it is not uncommon for me to say, I have a wild idea. What if we do this? And we don't always end up doing that wild idea, but many times it leads to a more practical solution, okay? So is everybody clear on what I want you to do? I want you to pick one topic and then ask some what ifs and brainstorming ideas on how we can solve or make it better or make our lives easier dealing with some of those issues that we talked about in your previous breakout room. Everybody good? This one's going to be short. I'm going to say, let's do about 10 minutes. Does that sound good, Gwen, on the breakout rooms? All right, so it's going to be a shorter time, so you got to cut to the chase and start brainstorming hard. Everyone, I hope that even though that was not very much time, I hope you got your wheels turning a little bit, thinking about some ideas. So let's start with our English speaking room. Were there any ideas that came up that you all, or any interesting discussion that you want to highlight for us?
Yeah, we talked a lot about what's going on with the American Camp Association and what they're offering for staff hiring, because our thing was talking about staff hiring, staff retention. And so talked about making things more appealing, getting camps to create a story about themselves instead of just, getting them to be hired. Think of what we need to know. Also, Jim Kane brought up the fact that most colleges are saying that camps teach the main 10 things that they need to have in camping. I'm sure other people in the English thing have more to add.
Yeah, any other highlights?
If I can find that list of 10, sure I can, but I won't.
Yeah, I think that we just kind of talked a lot about like the issue of the fact that it's really hard now, especially in North America and Canada, to compete with other jobs and like how much they're paying. And so then we have to find a different way to entice people to come to camp beyond that, like really get their hearts into the idea of working at camp, to make sure that, we have staff and stuff. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, that comes back to that storytelling we were talking about a little bit earlier. Being able to tell the story of why this work is important, making sure that we are updating policies and practices, and giving staff the tools to tell those stories as well as they go out. And a lot of times the staff are our best recruiting tools. Great. What about from our Spanish speaking room? Any highlights that you all want to share?
Okay. Well, there are a few highlights. I'm going strictly with the solutions we can, or the overall. Okay. We were talking about the consoles. Okay. We were worried about the physical shape, or about their intentions. Maybe sometimes they want money, although in other opportunities, that's not the reason they take this job. Okay, but in any case, there are adjustments we can do to motivate them to get in here and have a good experience. So, for example, about the salary, our orientation, in the training, and their uniforms are a few aspects we can adjust, and but we have to listen to them too. That's part of the important thing, because they will tell us what they need. So that's something that works. For example, when we get a better uniform, it's not just the, let's say, the wearing stuff or the practical, but it is also about feeling part of the team. So those things go hand to hand. Okay, and yeah, well, of course we need to have capacitation with them, but they will tell us what they did, and to not get too much into that. Well, for example, and there are other countries where the need of teaching, the vocational stuff, is more important for them, because they understand that this is sometimes a part-time job. This is not going to be forever. It has its time, and later, when they are older, they can teach the new counselor to be a counselor. So they make monitoring in their training. So from one generation to another, there is this training in the practice that can be also a good stuff for us to have a capacitated staff that understand what we do.
Excellent. Okay, so again, I know it's never enough time, but it's sometimes nice to just dip your toes into that space and take a moment to think and be creative and share. And hopefully too, you've even made some connections with folks that you can continue these conversations. And I so appreciate all of you all taking the time to share ideas, to be vulnerable, to share what you're struggling with. And I know as an industry, we continue to grow and get stronger when we share and work together. Because remember, being a camp director is hard and you don't have to do it alone. So continue these connections. And with that, I'm really excited to hand it over to Georgie, who has some cool opportunities for you to continue to connect and share, and as we grow our industry. So thank you all for your time today, and I'll hand it over to Georgie.
Bravo. This is the main way to share. And Ruby, you've been a great facilitator around this. It's a great beginning to season 3. Ruby's done camps and conferences and congresses, and she lives and gives out of doors and outdoor education and outdoor adventure. But I think your greatest gift is the ability to create a fun, caring community, and to coax people into finding their place in that community and strengthening their place in that community. So thanks for helping us find our voices today, Ruby, as we reflect, commiserate, and anticipate the summer ahead. It's great. I want to also bring greetings from Fari and Jeff and Marco and Jill and the entire ICF board to all of you. There, I see some new names here, which is great, as well as some old friends. At the beginning of the month, the board met for the first time in 3 years, and we last gathered together in person for an ICF board meeting in disappointments and losses that we have. Like all of us, ICF has faced some difficult times. And as a service to its members, the board made the decision to suspend membership fees for the year. And we're now rebuilding that membership. So if you haven't joined or haven't renewed, we would really encourage you to do that. It's an important step to our staying connected. The IC and we're pleased to see that a course in Australia has taken place and another in Russia is on the horizon. So all of that is positive news, but we have missed those ICDCs previously. And finally, the other primary revenue source for ICF is the International Camping Congress. In 2020, our we discussed when we met in Spain just a few weeks ago. We celebrated our coming together. It was kind of like the first day of camp when we all got a chance to hug again and to be with each other in person. Lots of renewal. We were hosted by Carolina, who I see here, Carolina Flakes Wright, and her crew from English Summer Camp in Spain. We visited several camps. We visited the city of Tarragona, the beach, and a winery. And oh yes, and we also met about some ICF business. The main upshot of the meeting was our full and unwavering commitment to the ICC 2023. It's been our flagship event, and it's been 6 years since we've been together, so it's time. It's time to go to Spain, time for us all to meet. And so all eyes are on Tarragona. The city's magnificent. The conference center is top notch, along with the hotel and the theme park and the beach and the program and the camp community in Spain. It's all great. The dates are October 4th to 8th in 2023. That's the important thing to put on all our calendars right now. And I know that the Academy, and there'll be lots of promotion over the next couple of weeks and months ahead. So let's watch for that and talk more about coming together in Spain. The theme's Fem Piña, which translates as come together. Let's come together. And our theme is come together to rise higher. So let's meet there. Gracias.
You can also help us with your feedback online. You can check with your phone and kind of take a picture of this QR, and then you can just go to the online feedback and let us know a little bit about this session. Also, what's going to happen, we're going to meet again in ICF Academy, November 29. So set the date, mark the date. We're going to be discussing what happens when the world of camp comes together and how good it is. So everything, good things happen when the world of camp comes together. As Georgie was inviting us to the Congress, we have a year to plan on, so a year to save some money so we can join all together in Spain. We can go and play. I'm sure Jim is going to be there with us in Spain, showing us whatever he has been working on in the last 5 years. It's so long since we met each other at Sochi. A lot of presenters, great people who's going to be joining us and developing ideas, who are doing a lot of things, etc. So we hope to see you. We hope to join us. Also, shoot us ideas for ICF Academy. Shoot us some ideas from anything that you would like to see in the ICF, from ambassadors, from different topics we usually cover. And well, this is kind of our official goodbye for the session today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to review this session, there is going to be a recording and some transcripts that Alexia and Gwen always work so hard to have us to share. We're gonna have an unofficial after party after the end titles finish. You can leave whenever you want, but if you want to stay and discuss and talk, we're gonna be here for the next 15-20 minutes, and we would love to have you here and just have a little gather around, talking a little bit about everything we are facing in the outdoor industry, after school programs, camp programs, and so forth. Thanks so much for joining us, for being here. We see you at November 29. Please be mindful of the early bird for the 2023 Congress.
Jo sóc Tarragona.